Listen, you're going to want to stay with me for this one because Celtic is absolutely buzzing with drama, madness, and pure excitement just now. I've got 3 massive stories lined up for you. I'm talking about money struggles abroad involving a Celtic player, Johnny Kenny firing out jokes about Westlife before a massive European clash, and a massive shake-up behind the scenes with a fresh start that could change everything. So stick with me right to the end. We have 6 news a day to keep you updated with the mighty Celtic. Hit that subscribe button and be part of it. Let me bring you this one in that proper Celtic tone, with the fire, the swagger, and the wee smirk every time anything outside paradise starts shaking, like the Azuis on a windy day up Sucky Hall Street. And this whole saga with Luis Palma, oh, you'll enjoy this because it's one of those moments where Celtic holds all the cards, all the power, and every other club involved is scrambling like they've misplaced the remote in the sofa cushions. So here's the crack. Big Luis Palma, the lad who never quite clicked under Brendan but has been lighting up Poland like he's been plugged straight into the mains, is suddenly the greatest thing since a crisp winter afternoon at Paradise. He's banging in goals, whipping assists about for fun, and basically showing Lech Poznań what happens when Celtic talent actually gets unleashed rather than benched. 6 goals, 6 assists, 20 games. The boy's cooking, and everyone over there knows it. And now Lech, they're desperate. Absolutely desperate. You'd think Palmer was the last loaf of bread in Glasgow during a snow warning, the way they're clinging on to him. They've got a €4 million option sitting there, and instead of quietly paying it, they're panicking, counting pennies, talking about breaking transfer records as if they're planning an expedition to Mars. Their current record is barely over €2 million, which is adorable, really. That's what Celtic spends clearing its throat. The Polish press is even reporting that Lech Poznań just spent €14 million on a shiny new academy, but now can barely muster a third of that to buy Palmer himself. A state of affairs. They want him, they're determined, but their bank balance is looking like a Rangers European run, short-lived, underwhelming, and ending far too early. So they're trying to get creative, coming up with conditions and schemes that sound more like a school fundraiser than a football club transfer plan. They need to reach the Conference League playoffs, stay in Europe as long as possible, qualify for Europe again next season, and flog a youth player for a tidy profit, all just to have a shot at affording Palmer. Imagine needing a full miracle trilogy just to talk to Celtic's accountant. And even if they hit 2 of those targets, the reports say it still might not be enough. That's how tight things are. Meanwhile, Celtic sits calmly, fingers steepled, watching the Polish circus unfold. If Lech truly wants Palmer, they'll need to break the bank, bend over backwards, and probably sell the stadium seats one by one on auction sites. And between you and me, that's exactly the kind of position I want my club in. Power, leverage, and a player performing so well abroad that other clubs are sweating under the lights. Now here's the question that'll rattle a few cages. If Lech Poznań somehow scrape the money together, should Celtic actually let Palmer go? Or has his form abroad proved that the club made a mistake and should bring him back to tear up paradise again under the new regime? Hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's GIT loudly till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. Let me bring you this one properly with that Celtic swagger, the roar in the voice and the wee grin that appears anytime we're talking about one of our own stepping up in Europe, while the Azuis are probably still arguing about who's to blame for their latest disaster. And today, it's all about Johnny Kenny, the lad who's gone from quiet Irish prospect to Celtic's unexpected headline maker since Brendan packed his bags and left quicker than the sun disappears in Glasgow. So we're heading to Rotterdam, De Kuip, one of those grounds folk love to call hostile, intimidating, cauldron-like, all that dramatic stuff they say to hype up teams that don't wear the green and white. And honestly, I'm watching Feyenoord right now and thinking the only thing boiling over there is their own support turning on Robin van Persie. They just got done in by NEC Nijmegen, and now they're panicking about Celtic rolling into town with a bit of bite again. You love to see it. Now, Johnny Kenny, the lad's been flying since Rodgers left. Suddenly, he's fearless, cheeky, filled with that energy you can't help but enjoy. He had a tough one against St Mirren, sure, but that's just football. It happens. Even Deason's had days where he looks like he left the batteries at home. But Kenny will be leading the line in Rotterdam, and something about this boy just feels ready. And then he comes out with the best line of the week, absolutely golden stuff. Feyenoord pride themselves on this whole nightclub atmosphere before a match, lights going wild, speakers blasting, smoke bombs everywhere, and Kenny's reaction? Not for me. There won't be any Westlife, will there? I nearly dropped my tea. Imagine standing in De Kuip, the place bouncing like a rave at 3 in the morning, and Kenny's just wishing he could hear Flying Without Wings. That's peak Sligo energy, and I love it. Pure honesty, straight from the lad's heart. But behind the laugh, you can feel the confidence, proper striker mentality. He's not scared of the stage, not blinking under pressure, and absolutely not worrying about Dutch fans waving their arms like they're in a music video. He's focused on positions, timing, finishing. He knows once he gets one in Europe, the rest start flowing, and that's what makes a Celtic striker dangerous. The belief, the sharpness, the refusal to shrink. And I'll tell you what, it's refreshing hearing a young lad talk like that. None of this cautious chat, none of this pretending the occasion is too big. He's backing himself to fire Celtic forward, and that's exactly the spirit we need while the boardroom drama swirls and every outsider predicts doom, like they always do. Europe is where legends are made. Kenny knows it, Celtic knows it, and Feyenoord, they're about to find out that a boy from Sligo who prefers Westlife to techno might just be the one to burst their whole party. Now here's the question that'll stir the pot nicely. If Kenny scores in Rotterdam and keeps this run going, should he become the first choice striker even when everyone's fit? Or do you still bring in a big signing in January and push him back down the pecking order? Hit that subscribe button, lads. Let's G it. Laldi till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs. Let's dive straight into this one because there's something electric in the air around Celtic just now, and you can feel it from Paradise all the way to Rotterdam. And here we've got Martin O'Neill, the man who still walks into a room with that quiet authority that makes even the hardest Glaswegian stop mid-sentence, backing Wilfried Nancy to rise above all the chaos swirling around the club like one of those stormy afternoons on Sucky Hall Street. The old gaffer has been holding things together with that classic grit of his, guiding the squad through Europe and the league while the boardroom has been noisier than a night out in the Gallowgate. But O'Neill's message is crystal clear, and honestly, it's the kind of straight talk the fan needs to hear. Nancy's getting a fresh start, a clean slate. None of the drama is on his shoulders. None of the boardroom fireworks were sparked by him, and none of the fallout should drag him down. He's arriving from Columbus Crew with his reputation glowing, ready to take over, and O'Neill believes he's absolutely the right man to ignore the noise and get Celtic firing properly again. And if Martin O'Neill gives you his blessing, that's like getting the green light from the Pope in football terms. You can tell O'Neill's been feeling the atmosphere, the tension, the weight of expectation. He's not pretending everything is sunshine and calm. He knows what's been brewing, but he's also lived through far worse storms in Glasgow, proper tempests where every headline looked apocalyptic and the Azuis were dancing like they'd won the lottery, only for the season to end with them crying harder than the rain on Sucky Hall Street. He knows leadership when he sees it, and he's telling Nancy to step in, block out the noise, and focus on one thing: winning matches and rebuilding a proper Celtic side that can compete not just at home, but in Europe. Tomorrow night, it's Feyenoord. Hostile place, big night, big noise. Then it's off to Easter Road, for a tricky one against Hibs. Those might end up being O'Neill's final matches in charge, and you can tell he wants to end this wee chapter with pride. He's kept the squad grounded, focused, steady, despite everything happening above his head. That's what proper leadership looks like, and he's right. Unity needs to come back to Celtic as soon as possible, because when Celtic is united, when the stadium is in full voice, when the dressing room is tight, there's not a team in Scotland who can live with us, especially not them across the city. What I love most is that O'Neill isn't sugarcoating anything. He's not pretending the off-pitch drama doesn't matter, but he knows it only becomes a problem if it drags on. The players are still giving everything. The support is still roaring every time the ball hits the net, and Celtic is still Celtic. And Nancy? He's stepping into a job that demands bravery, intelligence, and proper footballing soul. The kind of job that creates legends, and maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something new. So here's the big question I want to throw right at you, something that'll get the debates flying in the comments. Do you trust Wilfried Nancy to take full control of this team immediately, or should Martin O'Neill stay on longer to steady the ship before handing him the keys to paradise? Hit that subscribe button. Lads, let's G it lolly till we hit 1,500 mad Celtic daffs.